Hi guys, my name is Michelle and welcome to The Weight of Things. This is my second video in the series that I am doing talking all about things to do with relationships with your husband, your wife, your fiance, whomever the person may be. And so in this video, what we are going to be talking about is what we can do to kind of keep our spouse's interests peaked in us. What men want, what they're looking for, and what women want. And now this is like a broad topic, and there are so many different beliefs, and everything may not even fit to any particular person because everybody's different, every relationship is different. These are just some general ideas of what I have come to realize based on talks that I've had with both men and women, and just some things that I have come to realize. So these are just basically my thoughts, not to say that if you do these things that is going to guarantee you're going to have a long, joyful, peaceful, never have any problems relationship. I don't think that there is a one-stop fix-all for that. There's definitely going to be ups and downs. There's definitely going to have to be a lot of fighting our own, sometimes selfish intuition to want to do things that please ourselves and satisfy ourselves. And there's obviously going to be a lot of even challenges that we have from outside influences and all these different things. So there is no secret that I have that's going to prevent your spouse from looking elsewhere or make sure that you guys have a perfect relationship. However, there are some things that I think that we have kind of believed that may not necessarily be true. And so I kind of wanted to get into things like that. I think a lot of times that I have realized, at least in my marriage, that we tend to love people how we want to be loved instead of loving them how they want to be loved or how they need to be loved. So for example, if I feel very loved when my husband, and this is just an example, if I feel very loved when my husband gives me lots of compliments and just tells me how much I mean to him, which would be called words of affirmation. If I feel very loved by that, I would tend to show him love in that same way because that is the kind of love that I am looking for. And vice versa, if he feels loved by, touching, he may tend to be always touching me because that's how he feels loved. And so the way that we often feel loved is the way that we often express love. And that can definitely be a downfall because we are not speaking their love language. If you guys have heard of the 5 love languages, and I don't know if there's more now or what, but I definitely agree with that there are definite things that we may specifically find to touch our hearts a little bit more than, maybe even our spouse. And as I can see from my own experience and from listening to other people, we do tend to go and project that on the other person to try and love them in that way because that's what we want for ourselves. And not only in romantic relationships, in marriages does that happen, but I also find that, somebody who's very loyal, they will be very, very loyal to other people and they expect and want that loyalty back. And so what happens is when they're not getting that back, that's when it can become a problem. That's when they're kind of upset with that other person. Whereas that other person, for them, maybe loyalty isn't really a huge thing, something else is a huge thing. And so they are also trying to be your friend or, or whatever they may be in your life in that way that they know how to love, in that way that they would feel loved. And so I think that's something that's very important in relationships with your spouse or whoever is for you to not try to love them the way that you want to be loved, but really find out what is their love language. Find out how they feel loved and try to love them like that. I think that is a number one point that I would want to make. I think that's what both men and women want, is to be loved in the way that they feel loved. So even if you're oh, well, why do you care if I do this? Well, you may not care if they do that, but clearly if they care, then that's why we should be doing it. Now, I'm sure we've all had instances where maybe we know a male or a female where we've seen their spouse before, and their spouse is a very good looking, beautiful, handsome person. And then we see this other person that they're with and we're just bruh, like, do you need your eyes checked? Like, what's going on there? And I think it's because we happen to have this false perception that because somebody looks good, that's what's going to keep the person from not straying, or that's what's going to keep the person in the relationship. And so because of that, we can tend to want to perfect our looks. Some people go to the fact of cosmetic surgery and all the latest trends, anti-aging trends, all these different things to want to keep themselves looking prime, looking good, looking whatever. And then, as I said, when we see that person, the person that they are interested in, it's just like, it's kind of shocking because you see who they had, and then, and the reason why that could happen is because it's not all about looks. There are different things that we are looking for. And while looks is definitely a bonus, of course, somebody they want to be attracted to the person that they're with. And I'm not definitely talking against wanting to look good for your spouse. That is a key thing. And I will say that, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But what I will say is that your looks is not what's going to keep the person interested. It's not what's going to keep the relationship going. There is something more to that. The looks is a part of it, but there's a bigger picture to it. And what that bigger picture is that it's the effort that you put in. It's the effort. So it's about the fact that you want to put an effort to look good for your spouse, not the fact that you actually look good. A lot of us that are wives and mothers, we may have like a long day and we just feel so tired, and we let our husbands come home, we're wearing like sweatpants or whatever the case is, and it's all good, like it feels comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's like we have to remember that they are visual beings, men. Sometimes they are very visual. They want something to look at. And if you want to be the only thing that they're looking at, then like, my dear, give them something to look at. So the whole thing about it is that at the end of the day, it's not even about how you look. It's not even about how you like, oh, you look super hot or whatever, but it's about the fact that you want them to be attracted to you. It's the fact that you put in effort. It's just like if you were to be going to any other event, you're going to a wedding, you're going to, maybe if you work, you're going to your job, you're going wherever, and you put in effort to look good. So you should be able to put in that same amount of effort for your husband or for your fiance or for your wife. And I think that is what more of the key thing is that you wanting to be pleasing to that person, you wanting to be attractive to that person. As the first thing that I mentioned for us ladies, about finding out what your husband or your fiance's love language is. That's very important, because a lot of us think, well, I clean the house, I cook dinner, I try my best to look good, I take care of the kids, I do all this and I do all that. And yeah, that's great. But if you are not actually meeting his needs, if you are not actually loving him in the way that he wants to be loved, if he doesn't consider acts of service his love language, then all of that, he may appreciate it, but it's not going to make him feel loved if that is not how he perceives love to be. A lot of men, whether their love language is words of affirmation, men, they like to feel like they are needed, like they are bringing something to the table, that they can save the day, that they are respected, that they are honored, that they are revered. They like that. And so it's like when they go to work and, all day when they talk to you, all they hear is, we need this from the grocery store, and this broke down in the house, and did you know that, the baby, she just scribbled all over the wall. That's what they're hearing. But then there's some nice woman in their workplace that's like, oh, that project that you did was so awesome. What is, like, how do you get inspired by that? And kind of building up their ego, kind of building up their self-confidence. Where do you think they're going to want to go to get that boost of inspiration to continue going on each day? And we can all sit here and be like, oh, well, that's his problem. Like, he shouldn't need that, whatever the case is. And that's why sometimes women get into situations where their husbands start looking elsewhere. Because again, if we're going to have that mentality of only wanting to do what we want to do and thinking, well, they don't need that, when in fact they do want that, then of course they're going to go and looking somewhere else. And as a man, I do find that a lot of men, maybe not all men, but they do want to feel like they have a cheerleader in the background, that they do want to feel like even though they have to go to work and face a hard day, that they have somebody that's encouraging them, somebody that's speaking words of appreciation and acknowledgement of what they do over them. Whereas us ladies, a lot of us ladies, maybe not all of us, we like to feel like we are understood. We like to feel like somebody is taking our emotions, our thoughts into consideration. So for us, it's like we want our husbands to come and ask us about our day. We want our husbands to sit there and listen to our sob story and everything that we are explaining and going through. We want to have that emotional connection. And again, with women, a lot of men, they're just like, you know, they may even fall asleep when they're listening to these stories and stuff like that. And that's understandable if they've had a hard day. But there are times that men can kind of put in a little bit of an effort to kind of be there for their wives emotionally because they are looking for that. So again, if a woman is looking for an emotional connection with her husband, she's looking for somebody to pour her heart out to. Yes, she has her girlfriends, stuff like that, but sometimes she wants a male perspective. Sometimes she wants even her husband to understand her. And if men are not able to make themselves available for that, then that's how it might be easier for her to want to go to somebody at her workplace that is like, you know, seemingly doing the things that she is secretly desiring inside of her heart. Now, neither of those things, whether it's from the male side or from the female side, makes it okay for anybody to look outside of their relationship. The grass isn't greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it. So regardless of what you're not getting in the home or what you feel like you're not getting in the home, it's your responsibility to make that known and have open communication and try to work that out, not for you to go and try and look elsewhere. But what I'm saying is that we want to help each other that does not happen. So while that is not an excuse, it's important for us that we are also helping to make that temptation not as tempting. So again, this is just basically my ideas, a very shortened version. Now you need to go and figure out from your spouse what it is that they're looking for. Again, it's not all about looks, but it is about the effort. What effort are you putting in to want to look good for your spouse? How many times have you asked them, what colors do they like to see you in? How do they like when you do your hair? How do they like when you cut your hair, or whatever you do? How many times have you asked them that and tried to look good for them? And I believe that is what both men and women want. It just may be in different ways. And as I said, even with these things, for your specific husband or for your specific wife, it may look a little bit different, but I think in general, we all want to be loved in the way that we want to be loved. We all want to know that somebody's putting in effort for us, that they're going out of their comfort zone, that they are trying to put in an effort in the relationship. And I believe that is something that both men and women want. If you have any thoughts on this, anything that you think that I should have added in this video, please make sure and put it in the comments below. Not only for my own knowledge, but also because there may be other people that watch this video and maybe your comment might help them. So if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe and click the bell below so that you can be notified of every time that I create a new video. Thanks for watching.